Hello everybody and welcome to another BACHATA ROCKSTAR Hearthstone video. Very excited. 8 cards to go. They're revealing the cards fast and furious. I'm very excited, so that means we're going to review them fast and furious. Here we go. Fast for me. Fast for me. Crypt Lord, 3 mana, 1/6, Druid card. Taunt. After you summon a minion, gain +1 health. So, immediately my first thought was buff to token Druid. Obviously, every time you summon a minion, you get more health, so you want to summon a lot of minions. Who summons more minions than Token Druid? Nobody. And, yeah, they're already using Tar Creeper to block and basically just hopefully let their Vicious Fledgling get a few more attacks, just let their little buffed up 2/3s, 3/4s get another attack in. And a lot of times that's the difference in the game. I mean, Aggro Druid is a very all-in deck. And this will allow you to go all in even more in that sense, and hopefully keep your minions alive. Now, does it die to Shadow Word Pain? Sure it does. Does it die to, other spot removals? Sure, but if they're using spot removal on this, they're not using spot removal on your Vicious Fledgling. Or they're going to have to make a choice. And honestly, on 3 mana, it's a great time for this card to come down. 6 health is a lot to deal with, and then the additional health that it keeps adding is a lot to deal with. And it's going to be very difficult to bash through this to actually get to the minions that are legitimate power threats. So I think this card is great. I think it's really good. I think it'll fit in Token Druid deck very easily and could maybe even see some play in Jade Druid or some other sort of beastie version of Druid that wants to block and protect. Like I said, it's a big, giant stall, and that's great. And it's a taunt. And hey, guess what? It even comes back with Hadronux. Fits a lot of archetypes. Really good card. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Thrall Deathseer. This is the Death Knight version of Thrall. 5 mana. Battle Cry. Transform your minions into random ones that cost 2 more, and you also gain 5 armor. And then the hero power becomes Transmute Spirit. Transform a friendly minion into a random one that costs 1. Pros to this. You can Doppelgangster on 5 and Thrall Deathseer with 10 mana. So you can immediately make that combo. Boom. So there is a 10 mana combo with Doppelgangster. 2. If you already have a board, this makes that board super buff. A lot of times evolving 1 mana up can sometimes give you a stat reduction. Especially if it's like 4 mana. Because there's a lot of things with battle cries and then cheaper health, and then if they don't have the battle cry, they're not as good. But if you evolve twice, it's pretty rare to get a stat reduction. It can happen, but it's pretty rare. You go from 4 to 6, yes, you can get a 1/1, but a lot of times you get a 6/6, a 6/7, something really big, really strong. You go from 5 to 7, you go from 6 to 8. 6 to 8 is huge. And then this card allows you to do that. And then, of course, you can keep the transformation train going. You can trade a minion in, transform it, and do sort of priest-like thingies where, you trade a minion and heal it, and then it's not, you get a really good trade. Same thing sort of happens here. You trade an injured minion in, you transform it, you get a really good trade. So those are the pros. Those are good. It's really great if you already have a board, obviously. So a token-style shaman, something that builds a board really good and really efficiently, is going to be a thing, and it's something that you really want in this particular kind of deck. Now, drawbacks. The main way that shamans built a board was to use their hero power. And so a lot of times when you hit an evolve on 7 minions, you were hitting it on like 4 fucking token totem thingies, and maybe like 3 or 4 other minions. And so now, without that ability, your Transmute Spirit needs to be fed with other minions. And so if you don't have enough just minions in your hand to make this worth it, and your opponent can clear your board, even though it is a buffed up board, it may not work. You may find yourself running out of gas, running out of steam, and oftentimes you'll be vulnerable to one big board clear. I can see something like a paladin countering this pretty darn hard with a quality pyro. Mages countering this hard with something like a meteor or a flame strike. Maybe there's some better control priest tools. Dragonfire potion might punish this pretty hard. You know what I mean? So even though your board is extra buff, board wipes can still really affect your board, and they're random minions, so you don't get to pick them, and it's entirely possible you low roll and you get some bad minions. But you also could high roll, get some minions that are really strong, maybe get some powerful death rattle effects. We are entering an era where death rattle effects are going to be very strong and going to be a very prevalent part of the meta. And so crazy part is, you know, maybe you get a few death rattle minions, and then if they do get board wiped, you're not that sad about it. You know, you evolve a 4-drop into an Aya Blackpaw. Woohoo! So what if it dies? Give me another Jade. You know, oddly enough, I think the best way to play this particular deck is actually to Jade it up. I know that sounds weird because, you know, Jades don't spread the board as well as just super tokeny, but Jades are a lot more resilient and they work really well with Transmute Spirit, because every time you make a Jade, not only does it gain stats, it gains mana cost. An 8/8 Jade Shaman card costs 8 mana. And so you trade that in, make it an 8/2, destroy something big, boom, turn it into a Ysera. That's where I think the real power of this card will come in. And that's where I actually think Thrall Deathseer's power is going to come from, is not from a super aggressive token style, but I think the best thing is going to come from a Jade style Shaman. That's my recommendation. But I think whatever deck you decide to play this in, you are going to have to commit to the idea of vomiting a bunch of minions and getting a bunch of stuff on board in order to make this good. I think this card is going to be very powerful. I think it will be very strong. I think it will definitely be meta defining. This card gets a 9 out of 10 for me. My only caveat for not giving it a 10 is that hero power. I wonder if you're going to be able to still make enough minions if they clear your initial wave of minions. Tomb Lurker, 5 mana, 5/3, epic, neutral, battle cry. Add a random death rattle minion that died this game to your hand. But it's got a lot of attack, so it can trade pretty nicely. The good news is, though, it cycles itself. You add a random add a random death rattle minion that died this game to your hand. So you play it, you get a card back. Awesome. A card that this reminds me of is the Jade Lotus card, which was just on the cusp of seeing play. So the good news is, with this card, because it's a random death rattle minion that died this game, you have some control over it depending upon what death rattles you've played. Now, the death rattle has to die, so that is a caveat. And if a death rattle minion hasn't died by turn 5, you don't get shit, because this is a battle cry, so it can't summon itself. Yeah. So, are you going to put this into a death rattle heavy deck? Probably not. I think the best deck that this goes in is one that has a few strong death rattle minions to increase the chances of you getting a strong death rattle minion back. So, my first thought with a card like this would be to put it into a quest control priest. One that doesn't start the death rattle train until later and is trying to not get their Amara until past turn 10. So something that plays very strong, powerful death rattle minions that you want to get back. And that's where I think this card can be really good. It can also aid to the quest. It can further the quest. So yeah, I think that's sort of its place. There's other decks that could fit in too. Control Paladin, where the only death rattle that you play is Tyrion, and you don't play this card until you play Tyrion, and then you play him and you get Tyrion back. Is that better than Stonehill Defender? I mean, no, but can you use it in addition to Stonehill Defender? Sure. Even getting a Loot Hoarder back, there's a lot of Death Rattle minions that you're going to want to play, that you're going to want to get this back with. And like I said, if you play only a few strong Death Rattle minions, you're far more likely to get those back. Now, it says random Death Rattle minion that died this game, so the nice part about this card is if your opponent played a strong Death Rattle minion and you killed it, you can get his minion back, I believe. I think that actually makes this card even more powerful and fits even better into a priest archetype because they're all about stealing your stuff. For those of you that saw my last card review and saw Archbishop Benedictus, holy shit, this just steals their stuff even more, and so hence I think it fits even better into a steal your stuff priest kind of archetype. A control, steal your stuff, death rattle, priest archetype. So is this card any good? Yeah, I think it is good. Is it viable? Depends on the death rattles and how well you can sort of manipulate it. Now, the great part about this card is it's a battle cry, so you get it immediately. Now, let's imagine that there's like only a 5 mana cost death rattle died. That's a good one. You play Tomb Lurker on turn 10. You get the card in your hand. You immediately play the death rattle card. There you go. You play this with 5 mana, maybe develop something else. It dies. Who cares? You already have the card in your hand. So it's not a death rattle. You don't need this card to die. As soon as you play it, you get the card. And so it auto cycles. And I think that is the true power of this card, is the fact that you're not waiting around to get the death rattle card. You're getting it immediately into your hand. And could potentially just play it immediately. So yeah, neat card. We'll definitely see some play. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think it will see some play. I think it will see some experimentation. I don't think it'll necessarily make the cut in the best decks, but I could see it fitting into a nice tier 2 deck. Well, Paladin got the card they needed. Righteous Defender, 1 mana, 1/1, Taunt, Divine Shield. Second Argent Squire? Well, it gets its Divine Shield broken, so it can further Bolvar. It gets its Divine Shield broken, so it can further Light Sorrow. It's a really cheap card and great card when buffed, much like Argent Squire was. It's going to get traded into. It forces your opponent to trade into, so it's a nice counter to patches. I mean, it's just a little underwhelming. That's all. It's a taunt minion. I don't know if that has any, paladin synergies with taunt. Maybe it kind of gets the taunt, divine shield, wicker flame, burn bristle rolling here. I would have loved to have seen this as a 2/1 taunt, divine shield for 2 mana. I wanted to see Shielded Minibot 2. Where's my Shielded Minibot? I miss the days of Shielded Minibot into Muster for Battle. I miss Muster for Battle. Can't we just make a card? You know what we need? This is what Paladin needs. Paladin needs Muster for Battle back. Make a cheaper version of Muster for Battle. Right? Make a 2 mana, summon a Righteous Defender, give me a Light's Justice. Right? We'll call it First to the Front Lines, or I don't know, Frontline Defense, or First to Battle. Something like that. Just, this is all I need. Just give me a Righteous Defender and a Light's Justice, and then I can actually control the early game and actually start snowballing full reels. And I don't need to rely on stupid Murlocs. I like Murlocs, but come on, man. Is this card going to see play? I mean, Murlocs are already really good, so probably not. It furthers the Divine Shield archetype, but who knows how good that's going to be. I have doubts that a Divine Shield archetype is going to be any good, especially because you have to lose the Divine Shield to get any power out of it. Maybe this is really good in combo with Rallying Blade. You know, Argent Squire, Rallying Blade, Righteous Defender, Rallying Blade. Maybe Rallying Blade gets a buff in power. You know, I don't know. Where's Coghammer, man? Give me Coghammer back. I miss that card too. I don't know. They just all this Paladin early game. I think they got scared that Paladin snowballed too hard, and now they're just afraid to print like legit cards for Paladin in the early game. This Paladin snowballs so fucking hard afterwards. But yeah, I think I talked about this card enough. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Will it see play? I think so. I just question the viability of the decks that it fit in, and it could see play, it could not. It really is just 50-50. If the Divine Shield deck works, this will fit, and I don't think it'll be that good anyway. If the Divine Shield deck doesn't work, it will not see play. We got a Rogue card, 4 mana, 5/3, the Runeforge Haunter. Not Hunter, Haunter. 4 mana, 5/3. During your turn, your weapon doesn't lose durability. That's neat. Weapon synergy. It's like an extra swing. This guy comes down. Yay. Pretty good with the Shadow Blade thing. Pretty good with Assassin's Blade. Even pretty good with a Deadly Poison Dagger that I get to use again. I mean, getting extra swings is nice. I wish this gave my blade lifesteal. Then it would be fucking good. I mean, that's the problem with the Leeching Poison card, is that it doesn't do anything else to develop the board. So this is nice. I mean, we've seen 5 mana 5/3s, and this is a 4 mana 5/3. Granted, the effect is significantly worse than getting a Death Rattle minion in your hand, for instance, or getting to discover a class card. Is this going to see play? I don't know. There's just so much weapon removal, and so getting an extra swing is not always that good, because your opponent a lot of the times is just going to remove it. I think if weapon buffs become a thing, if strong weapons and lots of weapons become more of a thing, you're just going to see more acidic and gluttonous oozes coming out, and I think this card will be, less good. I think Harrison Jones is going to be more of a thing now too. Like, that's always been a great card that's seen its way in the meta in and out a lot, and I don't know. I just question the viability of strong rogue weapons, and for some fucking reason, Blizzard is disinclined to print actual good rogue weapons. Yes, the Shadow Blade's pretty good, but it's just an early game card. It's got 2 durability. It's a Fiery War Axe with a slight upside and an increase in mana cost. Okay, so maybe on turn 3, you play the Shadow Blade, you swing in, you whack him, right? On turn 4, you play this guy, you swing in, you whack something else, you keep your durability. They kill this dude, you swing in again, you whack something else. You've taken 2 hits to the face at this point. Hopefully you've controlled the board, and then you can play another 5-drop that's really good. I don't know, maybe a Lotus Assassin stuff, I don't know. Lucky Do Buccaneer is 6 mana, so that's not even gonna... Oh, well, no, hey. So let's assume that your weapon doesn't get removed. Right, so on 5... Okay, on 3, you play the Shadow Blade, you swing in, you have a 3/1. On 4, you play this, you swing in, you have a 3/1. On 5, you don't swing, it doesn't get removed, and then on 6, you play a 9/9? That's not too far off. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe they're trying to make Lucky Do Buccaneer good. I mean, 6 mana 9/9 is pretty darn good. It's Draconid Crusher levels of good, and boy, do I miss that card. If Rogue does become a thing, I could see it then in turn having some viability. The Corpse Raiser, 5 mana 3/3 neutral, rare. Ew, this Battlecry better kick ass. Battlecry, give a friendly minion death rattle. Resummon this minion. What? Everybody's a shaman today. That effect is sick. That effect is super sick on a death rattle. Sucks if it gets silenced, obviously. So silence and spellbreakers and owls and silence priest hard counters these sort of things. But they always did, and they're always there. So will this card make an increase in silence happen? Yeah, probably, because this effect is fucking sick. Anytime you can take an effect that was solely the realm of one class and give it to all classes, you have to do something like this. You have to obviously reduce its stats, but essentially you're getting a 3/3 and another minion, whatever it is. So you have to make this card weak. Handbuff Paladin, make this a 5/5. Ooh, sexy! Maybe get this on a Wicker Flame and make it super annoying. Get this on a Wicker Flame and play Redemption, super duper annoying. Slam this on a Tyrion, oh snap, super duper annoying. Oh my god. Just, like, the idea, the amount of Tyrions that are going to be possible in Paladin, to me, are staggering with this card. Given Stonehill Defenders, given Howling Commander to bring it out of your deck, given Corpse Raiser to get more Tyrions, given Redemption to get more Tyrions, Getaway Kodos with Hydrologist to get more Tyrions. I mean, you're going to have 4 or 5 Tyrions in a game with these cards. Obviously, that is best case scenario. If your Tyrion dies and you don't have that shit up, it doesn't matter. But if you Redemption your Tyrion and then Corpse Raiser your Tyrion and then it dies, you get a 6/6 back and then you get another Tyrion back in your hand and you get the Ashbringer again. Yeah. So, is this card ridiculous? Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yes, it requires a lot of setup. Yes, it requires a minion to be on the board. Yeah, sometimes you're going to play this on a minion that is garbage, and you don't give a shit if you get it back or not. But just being able to bring back some sort of taunt minion, just being able to bring back some sort of, like, relatively okay death rattle minion, it's a really powerful effect. And there was a reason why I was only in Shaman. I mean, you know, Shaman would Earth Elemental and then, I forget the name of the card that does this. Ancestral Spirit, I want to say? Something like that. Where this effect was given to that card, which is resummon the minion. And then you would just get a 7/8 and get another 7/8. Like, that's really good. Imagine this card on even something like a Dinomancer or a Cruel Dinomancer, where it dies and then you get the Dinomancer back and then you get a minion that you discarded back. That's really good. Imagine this card on a Abominable Bowman, right? Where it dies, you get a random beast and you get the Bowman back. And even this card on, like, I don't know, a Jade Swarmer. Gets you more Jades, right? Because then it death rattles and gets you more Jades. You know, and Wild, this on Sylvanas, holy shit. That's going to be super powerful. Things like that. You know, there's some, mostly it's going to be death rattle minions, or just, like, big taunts. Imagine slamming this on just, like, a Crypt Lord. Or on a Hadronox and getting 2 fucking taunt minions back. Or 2 waves of taunt minions back. Like, there's a lot of really good applications for this card and other classes that aren't Shaman. But it's super powerful in Shaman. If you get a fucking Earth Elemental to stick, and then you fucking play the spell, then play this dude on it, you're gonna get 3 Earth Elementals back. Sick. Imagine getting this card on a Kel'Thuzad in Wild and just filling your board with Kel'Thuzad. That's already a thing. You know what I mean? Like, so there is a ton of applications for this card. obviously you're gonna need a minion. Like that's the drawback, and that's why I'm not giving this card a 10 out of 10. But I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's just on the cusp of seeing play in almost every deck. But you can slot it in anywhere. It's going to see a lot of play throughout a lot of decks. Really good card. And we've got the Corpse Widow. 5 mana, 4/6 Hunter Beast card. Your Death Rattle cards cost 2 less. So you play this on 5 and you get a High Main and a Hero Power. You play this on 5, you get a High Main, a Kindly Grandmother Festatourin. So in theory, good card. 6 health is a lot. That's relatively hard to kill on turn 5. Potentially you're playing this with a bunch of cheap free death rattles. That's really neat. Like I said, getting cheap high mains, always good. Is this gonna see play? I don't know. Is Death Rattle Hunter going to be a thing? Maybe. I've tried making it in the past, and it's missing stuff. It's missing tempo plays, missing really good tempo plays, and maybe this provides you with a really good tempo play. You know? On turn 6, it's not just high main anymore. Maybe it's high main and 1 or 2 other things. And if that's the case, that's really good. We've all seen how strong Finja is, because Finja will bring out stuff, and then you could still play stuff. So, is this as good as Finja? No, but it has better stats than Finja. It's already a threat in and of itself at 4/6. It doesn't die to any priest shenanigans. You know, I can see this card seeing play, but if Death Rattle Hunter's not good, this card's going to see no play. I'm going to give this a 5.5 out of 10. Death Rattle Hunter is going to have to be good. I have faith it will be, but if it doesn't, it's going to see 0 play. So, just over the edge of viable, in my opinion. Devour Mind. It's a 5 mana priest card, rare. Copy 3 cards in your opponent's deck and add them to your hand. So, priests gotta nourish. And it's a priest style nourish. It's not your cards, it's your opponent's cards. So, I do wonder what happens if your opponent only has 1 or 2 cards in their deck. I would assume you get an additional copy of them, or maybe you just don't get 3 cards. But like I said, for the most part, you're not going to play it then. You're playing it for the card draw. Is Priest going to run out of stuff and really require this card? I don't know. I think the deck that it fits in will probably have enough card draw and enough value and may not need to run this card. But there are definitely times where a priest is sort of looking for something to do and is just hanging mana, you know, just hero power pass on these long drawn out games. And so Devour Mind is really good in that sense because it'll give you a play. And it'll give you a play on a turn where you may not have had a play. So I think that's really good. Getting copies immediately put into your hand is really nice. And it's 3 different cards, so that gives you a lot of good options. And is it better to draw your own cards or to get copies of your opponent's cards? Well, if you're playing for fatigue, it's better to get copies. If you're just trying to cycle through and get your combo, it's better to draw your own cards. And so, thematically, it's actually Druid's card is good for Druid, and Priest's card is good for Priest. You know, the whole idea of Priest is just to play with your opponent's cards. I do question the viability of the Steal Your Stuff Priest simply because decks are becoming a lot more refined, and they're also going to be a lot more synergistic. And so the problem with an Archbishop Benedictus or a Devour Mind or a Thought Steal or a Mind Vision is that you're getting cards that you yourself did not put into your deck. I think that's kind of the inherent problem with this Steal Your Stuff Priest idea, is that you might be stealing stuff that doesn't work with your deck, that doesn't fit together. It's a pure value play. So this card doesn't even affect the board at all. So you're gonna need to really control the board and play this on a way later turn, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, to get to see its true value realized. This is not something you just dump on 5, because you're still fighting for the board. You're still fighting to control, you know, And if you don't have that control, then this card doesn't help you. Like I said, it's just a value generator. So in a strong control, steal your stuff kind of priest, this card will see play and it will be a strong part of that. In any other priest deck, it's probably not going to see play. And hence, that's why I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think control, steal your stuff priest will be a strong, maybe tier 2 deck, and this will be a strong card in that deck, but this card does not have widespread viability, which would give it a higher score. Glacial Mysteries. It's a mage card, 8 mana. Put one of each secret from your deck into the battlefield. Lay sigh. Well, if you were tired of Mysterious Challenger, it's back in mage form now. So, is this card actually good? Is it as good as Mysterious Challenger? The answer is no. Here's why. Slotting a bunch of secrets into your deck as a mage is significantly worse than slotting a bunch of secrets into your deck as a paladin. Because as a paladin, a lot of the times, even if you drew them, they're only 1 mana. They're actually easy to kind of just slot into your turns, right? You know, on turn 6, or let's say turn 5, if you had like 1 or 2 secrets, you could play 1 or 2 secrets and play a 3-drop. No big deal. You know, that's not as huge of a tempo loss. And a lot of times, because you're a paladin, your secrets were adversely affecting your opponent's board immediately. You know, now, like a Noble Sacrifice would kill an attack. Repentance would potentially kill a minion. You know, even something like a Competitive Spirit would, you know, buff your board on the next turn. Just things like that. Like Paladin secrets are actually pretty darn interactive. Whereas Mage secrets, yes, you have to play around them. Yes, they're stronger, but they cost 3 mana to play. And so it's actually really difficult to slot Mage secrets into turns. And hence a lot of Mage secrets just weren't seeing play because their effects weren't worth the mana cost that it would get. Vaporize is a very strong card if you kill a huge minion, but a lot of times you were killing a 1/1 with it. So it just didn't see play. Really, the only secrets that see significant play are Ice Block and Ice Barrier, with the occasional mirror entity thrown in. So with Glacial Mysteries, here's the problem. We already have Arcanologist. Arcanologist draws our Ice Blocks. It draws our Ice Barriers. And if we draw our Ice Blocks and Ice Barriers, and there's none of them in the deck, we can't put them into the battlefield anymore. And hence, this card requires you to play a bunch of secrets to have them in your deck, to have not played them, to have not drawn them. Then you play them and draw them all out, thereby thinning your deck of secrets, but you had to put a bunch of crappy secrets in. And unlike Mysterious Challenger, you don't get a 6/6 body with it. 8 mana? You gotta build around this card? I mean, okay, let's realistically think, what secrets do I want to put in my deck? Okay, obviously the big 4, right? 2 Ice Blocks, 2 Ice Barriers. Probably 2 Mirror Entities. That's good. Maybe 2 Mana Binds. Okay, viable. So that's 8 secrets? What are the odds by turn 8? You know, by turn 8 with 2 Arcanologists, which is going to significantly weaken Arcanologist, by the way, since you're not going to get your Ice Blocks. You know, you're probably going to pull out 3 secrets with this on average. You know, because you only can put 1. So probably half the time you're going to get Ice Block, half the time you get Ice Barrier. You're almost certainly going to get Mirror Entity, and you're almost certainly going to get Mana Mind. Is that worth 8 mana? Would I pay 8 mana to get 3 of those secrets into play? Well, obviously, I would pay 3 mana, 3 mana, 3 mana to get them all into play. So, in theory, that's saving you 1 mana if you can get 3 secrets out. So, in that sense, there's value there. But you're literally doing nothing to affect the board. How the fuck are you going to spend 8 mana on this, man? I mean, I'd much rather play Syndragosa, which actually puts shit on the board. I don't know. I think this card is just bad. I think the setup for it is really difficult. I think the fact that you're going to have to put a ton of secrets into your deck is not good. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10. It will be strong in a deck that I feel is weak and will not be even tier 3. And this is the ridiculous other priest card. Whew, Obsidian Statue, 9 mana, 4/8, taunt, lifesteal, death rattle, destroy a random enemy minion. Fucking A, what? What? Sogoth, eat your heart out. Jesus Christ almighty. 9 mana cards need to do shit. Like, immediately. This is why Ysera, honestly, is not that strong if you have to just play it straight up. I mean, it's a giant threat. But all it does is give you value over time. It gives you cards, and it gives you a 4/12 body, which is nice. But this card is 4/8. It has taunt, so it's already as strong as the Drake. And it has lifesteal, so now you get healed for 4 anytime anything trades into it. And you're probably going to have to trade stuff into it. It's got 4 attack, so other priests can't kill it. And then it has a death rattle, destroy random enemy minion. So when it dies, it kills something else. So you automatically get at least a 1-for-1 trade out of this thing. And health. And defending your face. So a 4/8 taunt, you can... unless it gets removed, you can assume heals you for 8. So, in theory, this thing is going to heal you for 8. It's probably going to heal you for another 4, or maybe even 8 more. So, potentially this card says, heal for 16, deal 4 damage to 2 minions, and destroy a random enemy minion for 9 mana. That's pretty darn good. Is it slow? Yeah, it's a 9 mana play. Of course it's slow. Are you going to make it to 9 mana? God, I hope so. You better. Guess what, though? This is not a legendary. This is an epic. You can put 2 of these in your deck. Whoa. Can you afford to put 2 of these in your deck? I don't know. I'm going to try. I mean, the effect is insane. Now, does this suck against silence? Yep. Yep. It totally does. But Sogoth sucked against silence. Now, did Sogoth see a lot of play? No, because its effect wasn't strong enough. 5/9 is just not that strong. But this is lifesteal. And it destroys a minion. That's powerful. Now, here's the other kicker too. So because it destroys a random enemy minion, your opponent is going to sit there and go, okay, wait a minute. What? I have to trade in a way that allows for other minions to still be alive to potentially keep my big strong minion. So if he trades in a bunch of little dudes and leaves just the big strong minion alive, then that big strong minion is going to get killed by this effect. So he's going to have to use his big strong minion to trade into this thing, and then maybe trade in something else, and then there's still a chance that it kills the big strong minion. So it's a good thing this isn't a target effect, because then that would just be OP. There are ways to kind of play around this card. 4 attack is not that much, but no matter what, but for the most part, you're going to get the lifesteal effect. You're going to heal up. It's going to protect you. Is this card going to win you the game? Probably not. But is this card going to delay the game long enough for you to draw into your win condition or to potentially steal it from your opponent? Yeah, it's a big, giant wall. It's a big, giant stall tactic. And yes, you're giving up your entire turn, but this is not a bad card to give up your entire turn for. Obviously, it sucks with transform effects. Obviously, it sucks with hard removal. But hard removal still allows you to destroy a random enemy minion. So no matter what, you're still going to get the value out of it. So your opponent, let's say he spends a hard removal on this. So that's a card. He's played a card. Your card has died. Then this kills another card. So you get a 2-for-1 automatically. He spent a card, and then this card killed a card. So you played one, and you made him waste a card, and then you destroyed a card. So it's not an automatic 2-for-1, obviously silence. But if this thing doesn't get silenced, it is ridiculous. If it gets silenced, it sucks. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 for that reason. I think this card will slot into almost every priest deck that's not an aggro tempo priest. Like, that's going to be a thing. But pretty much every sort of long game control-y priest is going to want to play this card. I think it's going to be really good, and I think it's going to see a lot of play. And that's it. That's the card review, guys. Thank you so much. Like I said, this is current as of 12:30 p.m. on August 1st. Hope you guys like it. Hope you guys are excited for the expansion, much like I am. The cards are pretty ridiculous. I gotta admit, they have outdone themselves. Once again, some very, very interesting card design, some really, really powerful cards, and some very late game oriented cards. So be prepared to play some 10-minute, 15-minute Hearthstone games. I'm not exactly looking forward to that, but it's going to be fun. The intricacy of the game is growing quite a bit, and I think their desire to make this an esport is what's driving that. So there you go. Yeah. Knights of the Frozen Throne, guys. It's going to be great. Keep learning. Keep rocking. And the Rockstar will see you later. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you want to see the newest videos, you can click here. If you want to see a recommended playlist, you can click here. And if you'd like to subscribe, you can click right here. Thank you so much, guys. Keep learning. Keep rocking. The Rockstar will see you later.